Hello, welcome to another episode of Autism No Filter. My name's John, my pronouns are he and him, and I'm a member of staff for Autism Bedfordshire. Today we're going to be talking about coming out in LGBTQ terms and autistic terms. And today we're joined by...
My name's Andy. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a gay guy. And I'm a member of Autism Bedfordshire.
I'm Jess. I'm a lesbian and go by she, her, and I've just started volunteering for Autism Bedfordshire.
Yeah, so hi, my name's Pat. I use pronouns he, him, and I go by queer, and I'm a member of Autism Bedfordshire, and I also do the Oliver McGowan training. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Luke. My pronouns are he and him. I'm a gay man, and I am a member of Autism Bedfordshire, but I also work with the Oliver McGowan team as well.
Has anybody got any funny stories about coming out that they want to share?
Oh, well, it's not really funny, but it's... So, I was really, out of everyone in my family, the person I was most nervous about coming out to was my dad. Because my dad was in the military, so he's quite... It's quite very matter of fact, very sort of could be quite strict at times. And I was thinking, gosh, how's he going to take this? And I'd been building up to tell him for months and months. And then we'd gone to the cinema to see a film, because that's something that we do. We like going to the cinema together. And then we were in Stevenage at the leisure park, and we went to Prezzo or something like that. It's an Italian restaurant, and we were sat there, and I can't remember how we just came, but I can't even remember what I said, but I said something about being gay, and my dad sort of giggled, and I thought, oh no, here we go. And he was like, no, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. And it was just, I found it amusing because it just wasn't what I expected, but it was a big relief. It was a big relief as well. I thought my dad, it wasn't that I was worried that my dad would take it well. I just didn't really know how he was going to react, but he was fine with it.
I quite like that. That's kind of...
Sorry, Andy.
I think the thing about coming out is that you don't just do it once. You do it consistently through your life.
Yeah.
It starts with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and then it's like your social circles, and then your work environment. You don't have to do that, but it ends up being sometimes it's because people talk about things and behind your back, or there's rumours, and so you kind of just think, right, fine, I'll just tell everyone. And it's just something you find yourself doing all the time. And then you talk about. I mean, I don't know on camera, but you were talking about how people dress, and I think sometimes that's just a way of just trying to explain yourself without saying anything. Yeah. You're just like, okay, right, I'm going to wear this T-shirt with a rainbow on it because I'm fed up with telling people. It's just, I think sometimes that's just easier.
Before I go out, I'm like, do I look gay enough?
Yeah, you do.
Thanks.
But it is that thing, isn't it? About the whole thing of coming out all the time. It's like, me and my partner.
Yeah.
And it is constantly. And it's like, is she okay? And it's like, no, my husband. Yeah. And so you are constantly coming out. People think you just do the one coming out, and you're not. It's like constantly. And you're coming out to like...
New friends.
Well, it could be... You're coming out to strangers all the time.
Yeah.
And it's somebody you've spoken to on the bus. And a doctor, and it's constantly coming out because it's literally like, they've seen your wedding band, and you literally just talk about, I'm meeting my partner at the bottom of the street, and they assume that your partner, is female, and you're sort of saying, like, you're having to, say, well, no, it's my husband or boyfriend or whatever, and because they just assume. And then you've got like the awkward thing of actually sometimes you don't want to say because they are a stranger. So you do just say partner, and then you constantly just keep saying partner because you don't want to come out because you literally don't know, okay, is this person safe to come out? Because let's say they haven't got a rainbow lanyard on. All the rest of the staff do, but this one staff member has chosen not to get the NHS rainbow lanyard. And so me keep saying partner feels a bit more safer than saying, like, my husband is waiting for me outside in the waiting area.
I feel when I married David, afterwards, I felt really self-conscious about saying the word husband or my husband. I was like, I still used like David or the partner or whatever. And then I just thought, this is silly. You know, he's my husband. I'm married. It's no worse than like somebody who's straight saying about their husband or wife. So I just thought, and I don't really care now about the reaction that I get. You know, it's like, I've just come out to you in a way by saying my husband, but get over it. I haven't got a problem with it, so you shouldn't either. You know, if you do, I don't care.
It's a good way to be, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it helps kind of saying it indirectly. So, like you said, when somebody says, "Oh, how is she?" or he, putting that pronoun in, instead of then declaring, "Well, actually, I'm gay," going through the whole list. So it's kind of more a subtle way, perhaps, to be able to get that across, which can be helpful for some people. I've found that myself. Some people have like taken aback a little bit, and then we'll have a bit of a conversation. Then questions will start coming from that. But I think it's for me at least, it's been a easier way of coming out.
I just don't come out to people. I let them figure it out themselves. Just because I don't feel the need to explain myself. I mean, 5, maybe even definitely 10 years ago, I felt like I needed to tell everybody everything, whether I knew them or not. And I've learned over the years not to do that, because sometimes people can be a bit judgy, and I think that's another reason why I'm myself, and I don't really feel the need to explain why I'm me.
Do you think over time, as the years go on, that will become more of a thing where people won't feel like they'll need to come out as such?
Hopefully, definitely. And maybe that will make people feel a lot more reassured. It will make people feel a lot more accepted as well, I think, which is really important.
I think we have a lot of representation on the TV and film now. I think it really started with Brokeback Mountain, I think it was.
Yes.
With that one scene. Well, Queer as Folk. I forgot about that one. Which was 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite pioneering for the time. But I mean, there's a lot of characters within soaps, mainstream film, TV now. So I suppose that helps people to identify, perhaps. And then start that journey of coming out and self-exploration as well.
How does social media help, or does it help, or does it hinder coming out or keeping yourself in the closet? Do you think?
I think it depends, and I think what I like now, and is the fact that there's a lot of like, I watch YouTube all the time, and I like the fact that. So YouTube and Instagram, I follow quite a lot of neurodivergent queer people.
Yeah, me too.
And I like the fact that shows that. So, like, on TV, you have the comparison of neurodivergent people, especially autistic people, don't have sex, and or they are. Basically, they don't have sex, they don't have relationships, and or they're seen as childlike, and so we're not supposed to see them as sexual beings. And so I like it that the fact that on YouTube and Instagram, and that we have queer neurodivergent representation, and because then it's showing what true, true neurodivergent queer people are like, and because and I think slowly, because because autistic people are working more in media, it means that some of that narrative is starting to change. I don't think it's changing enough, and I think some of the narrative on asexuality is changing as well, and but yeah, I think when you've got YouTube and Instagram, I think that does help more than TV.
Yeah, I was going to
Now-
say that. If you didn't say that, I was going to say that because Instagram, I think people on Instagram are a big benefit me on social media. Yeah.
What would you say? Is that because they're being their authentic
Yeah,
selves, not
yeah.
playing a character
Yeah.
in a show?
Harry, have you found social media's helped you to understand yourself more?
I think it's always difficult on social media, especially now, because so many different things can be sort of faked and changed. You know, we see it all the time on
Right.
TV and all sorts. And I think as more AI develops, it can change the way people think about the world. I think, and some things can be negative, some things can be positive. That goes for not only LGBTQ plus, but you know, anything in life. It is very much guided by technology now. So
It's not always a positive thing.
no, not always a positive thing. You can get some positives, but
Yeah.
not always.
Okay.
Fantastic. So, with autism, I suppose masking is a massive thing, kind of, that we all do.
Yeah.
I suppose bringing that to our sexuality and gender identity, how does that kind of mix in with the autistic side of us, where we have to feel like we have to, mask, camouflage, be different to fit into society? Does anybody have a take on that at all?
Going back to what Luke said, I run a book swap outside my house, and a lot of people go there, and I introduce myself and I'm like, I'm autistic, but really I maybe shouldn't be like that, because maybe the older generation are more judgy, or like I'm so open because I come to Autism Beds that I'm gay, neurodivergent, and I say that all the time. But to say it to an older generation person, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that because now they're gonna view me differently. Or
I think you have to be careful, because I think sometimes just because they're older doesn't mean they're not accepting of
No.
of things like autism or sexuality, you know, gender. I think it's, you know, there are more open-minded people out there than you than you might realise. But yeah, it just sometimes you do feel sometimes you have to kind of like mask or hide it. Camouflage, hide behind a persona that isn't maybe quite so openly gay or openly autistic. Obviously the gay thing I'm not very good at hiding, because everyone knows. But you know, I think I don't know whether people always assume that I'm autistic.
No.
But I know that my mum found it easier to accept me being gay than she did accept me being autistic.
yeah,
There was this whole
Agreed.
I think she took it personally when I said I was autistic, rather than being gay. She kind of knew all the time.
Yeah.
But the autistic thing was, I wouldn't say it was a surprise, but I think she felt,
it's a whole different ball game
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
out as autistic.
yeah, because it's kind of like, is that something she could have done something about,
Yeah.
or a guilt or an unconscious guilt there that, you know, she sort of thinks, oh, was that my fault? Well, of course it's not your fault. You know, it's a genetic thing probably, but it's not your fault. But I think my family are generally, I think, are easier with the whole gay thing. But my mum particularly, it's like when I talk about autistic, she said, when I had to ask her questions about my childhood, and the first thing she said, you were a perfectly normal boy. There was nothing wrong with you. And I was like, right, okay. And then we sort of like weeded out the bits and pieces. Like, oh, your teachers, they said you were really strange at school. I'm like, well, that's not normal, is it? So there was all that. But yeah, I mean, I think now she's getting better. We get used to the idea, but for a long time, I think it was quite hard for her to take it.
Yeah, I think for my mum it was hard to take in as well. But as I've been diagnosed, she's realised that she's more neurodivergent than she thought.
Right, yeah.
That she's probably autistic and ADHD.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's so autistic. That's you're on the spectrum, Mum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was harder for my grandparents to take in, maybe, that I was autistic.
Mm.
I don't know.
I think for me it was slightly different the other way around. My mum's always been supportive. She's brilliant. We have a great relationship. And that niggling doubt when coming out of, oh my goodness, is this all going to stop? Is there going to be even 1% of her that could potentially just reject me? And I think I was a very camp child. Very.
Nothing's changed.
But so I was very self-conscious. An instance where it was summer, we were at the pool, and I was walking around with my hand, and there was one of my classmates' older sister there who started to make fun of me. So I remember very much being very jolly butch and everything else. So when I did come out to my mum, she was quite surprised about me being gay, but not about being autistic. She could see that as throughout the years since I was obviously little. So yeah, it was slightly the other way around for me.
But then again, with my mum, when I got diagnosed, she was like, well, yeah, something weren't right when you were growing up. Something weren't. So yeah, my mum wasn't shocked at a diagnosis. But yeah, coming to terms with it, she's definitely neurodivergent as well.
Do you think that's helped her to explore herself?
Definitely. It's just like little things like noise or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you're just so autistic. But yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that coming out first as gay or whatever, bisexual, whatever, it's like your parent then thinks, oh, actually that explains a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you come out as autistic, they're like, hang on a minute, no, all that weird stuff is because you're gay. Like, no.
I think the younger generations, I was speaking to Harry and Jess here, no offence to everybody else.
How dare you?
Yeah. But I think people are more accepting, open about it, like you're saying on social media. And I remember an instance when we went to the Cotswolds for the day, Gloucestershire.
Oh yeah.
We were sat having a cup of tea, weren't we, upstairs?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
That's right. There were some kids, well, I say kids, there were 17, perhaps 18, who were on holiday, running the cafe that we were in. They didn't realise that we could hear all of their conversation whilst we sat. And they said, what was it? Is he a bit...
Is he autistic or is he just a bit weird?
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. So it was quite an interesting take on it. So I think things are people are becoming more aware.
Yeah.
I think, and understanding.
My
perhaps, as
nan
well.
wasn't so knowledgeable when I first got diagnosed, but now I've been diagnosed for nearly 3 years. She's come to terms with it and tries to understand it as best she can, and I think that's what what's needed of the older generation. People to try and understand it, to try and learn what's going on in our brains for being gay and autistic. There just needs to be that more understanding and slowly learning new ways.
I think maybe it's the same way as there was more representation of gay people, bisexual people, trans people on television. I'm not so sure there's a lot of trans representation, but I think there is some more representation about autistic people and neurodivergence on the TV now as well, on social media and on media itself. I mean, when I was growing up, there was Rain Man, which is a terrible film. I mean, a really awful
I've
film.
actually never seen that.
Haven't you? You're not missing anything. And it kind of explores one type of autism, and it's not very representational. And that was really all there was. And so if you were to look at that and think, well, I'm not like that, so I'm not autistic. But now you can see different types of autism. I'm not saying it's all good, but there is more representation of autism and autistic people and neurodivergence around. So I think people are becoming more aware. There is more acceptance of it, but it is slow.
It is slow, yeah.
It's like anything. I think things take time to snowball effect, doesn't it? Especially within the media, that has a big pull on people, how they think. But
I think for me, coming out as autistic was a lot easier as most people, just because when I was little, I think everything was going well, and I had a normal sort of first year as people do, even though in your first year of being alive you can't really do much, and it's
What age were you diagnosed?
2, but I'll go on to it. So it's when I was 1, probably, so I was born in October, November. I went into a hospital, I believe, and it was Bedford. I had trouble breathing and I think hearing as well, and they just kept giving me sort of the wrong medicines, the wrong drugs to try and help me get better from that. And when I went into sort of critical state, I was put top of the list in the UK for children. As soon as the child's bed came available at a hospital, I was the first one to get it, no matter what. If it was Scotland, they'd take me by helicopter. If it was England, they'd have taken me by ambulance. So it was a hospital in London called the Royal Brompton, and they helped me, and even though it wasn't great, Mum said there was a story about them giving me an adult mask instead of a child's mask, and doing different things. And then my dad was asking, am I still definitely going to be alive? And we're not really too sure. And it's and then I was put into a coma for I think about a week. I think it was. I might be wrong, but I think it was about a week. I was in a coma. Mum was there constantly, just sort of being next to me, and I think for her it must have been so difficult. And so all praise to her for supporting me all my life, I think. And from after that, I think. I came out on Christmas Day, 2:00, 2007. So, I think it was quite sort of magical time, and just amazing to be out. And the following year, I was diagnosed from autism. So it's always been there from a young age. I think growing up, it was just so difficult. So I'll sort of explain a day in my life of me as a kid, I suppose. So I'd get up, but I'd have to be the first one awake. If someone else was awake before me, sorry, you got to all go back to sleep. I want to be the first one up. But no, I want to wake up, and then I want to spend 5 minutes of just thinking it in bed. I don't want any noise or anything. If someone makes a noise, right, another 5 minutes added onto the timer, right, and then trying to get me up, and I'd get changed. And obviously, as a younger age, you always take that longer time to get ready. And I think if someone got ready before me, it was like, right, let's get ready again, And I think it's just so difficult. And then if we'd go out somewhere, I'd always have to open the door, or if someone, a stranger said, oh, I'll open the door for you, go on through. No, you go through, and I've got to open the door. And if someone else opened the door, that just trigger me off, and we'd have to start again. Or I'd always want to help push the trolley in Morrison's or Tesco or whatever supermarket we went to. And there's this one time in Morrison's where, because of my nan pushed the trolley and put the food in my bags, I got really upset, and my mum was there for an hour and a half trying to calm me down on the side of Morrison's, and obviously people looking, and my nan not really understanding what's going on, because to her, she's only just done the bags and put the trolley away, that's what most people do. And for me, it's just, and I think as well, it was like, if we were in my car, I'd always have to put my seatbelt on first. If someone else put their seatbelt on first, we'd all have to undo our seatbelts, and I'd have to, and obviously it's just a long time to do anything when I was little. But from growing up, I think a lot of that's gone, and no, yeah, I think that's something I should be proud of as well. When I was little, I'd always sort of run off, and any photo you look at, I won't be looking at my camera. I'll be looking at something else, and I'll be on one. Honestly, it'd be like trying to. If you've ever played like the Wii, it's like trying to do that game Smile Snack where you got to try and get everyone to smile on the camera. It's just so difficult. But no, nowadays it's just I don't really get affected by my autism. I don't think, and I think having joined Autism Bedfordshire as well, it's such great to see people of different ages, different culture, different beliefs, different religions, sort of on the same track as me, and all coming as one. And I think from that, I've really been able to gain my confidence even more. And it's just great to get together. And then I've got a question for one of you guys, whoever wants to answer it. How do you find Autism Bedfordshire in the way of getting together and being with people who also have autism, and managing to speak to anyone really, because obviously a lot of us would have been bullied at school because of our autism.
Well, I think for me, I'll give you an example. Recently, I was at the cinema with a friend. We were watching a film, Mother's Pride. Other films are available, and always it's quite funny. There were funny elements to the film, and he laughed. I was with a friend who's also autistic, and he laughed, whereas I stifled that laughter, and I realised, actually, my friend's laughing. He's just being himself. I can do the same. So I did. I started to laugh in places where I previously would have stopped myself, because I wouldn't want then everybody to look at me and think, what was he laughing for? Kind of thing, getting that similar humour. I don't know about anybody else.
I think going back to your point about the cinema, that was also another difficult thing for me being autistic, because I just couldn't sit still. I couldn't, I'd be walking around the cinema, and we'd always have to go to the autism friendly showings, because a normal showing people get angry, and there's been times where I think it was like probably about 2012, I want to say, we just sat outside of the cinema, and the rest of the family were just continued watching the film, because I just couldn't be in the cinema. And I think Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them probably came about 2018, I want to say. Me and my dad left the cinema, and my siblings stayed in, because even then I couldn't sit still. So what's someone else's experience about being part of Autism
Birds? It's changed my life. They've saved my life in so many different ways. With one individual worker who you'll know who you are. But yeah, she's changed my life. My confidence has grown. I actually have friends. When I first started, I saw this person on a one-to-one basis every week. And I remember weeks went past and I would just sit and look at her, and I would not talk. So any sort of professional, when I was younger, I would literally be mute. And they'd be like, you're just so rude, we can't help you. Like, CAMS were like, nope. But this woman took the time and gave me that safe space to actually grow to know her and grow to feel like I could talk again and found my voice. But the friends I've made here, lifelong friends, I think that's why I wanted to become a volunteer, because it's just, this charity has meant so much to me. It's changed my life completely 180. And I couldn't thank them enough. I really couldn't thank them enough. So that's why I wanted to push and be a volunteer. But yeah, it changed my life completely.
I think generally autistic people are very accepting of other people. not just gender or autism, but all kinds of levels. But I think we find it much easier to relax around other autistic people, and I think that's the benefit of Autism Bedfordshire and its social groups. You can be yourself.
The masks come down a little bit.
Absolutely, you don't have to worry about acting a different way. You can be yourself. You can they understand. They'll give you space if you need space. They'll include you if you want to include it. But they're not expecting you to do everything that they. If there's something you want some space to yourself, then that's fine. As long as you're safe and happy, then that's fine. And they genuinely care about you. I think that generally, the people, the volunteers, the staff that work here, they genuinely care.
Yeah, that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think for me, Luke will probably remember, and I think one of the first sort of courses that I came along to was like understanding my autism, and Luke was on that course, and I think that really helped, and I think after that I went to a few other courses. Yeah. But I think being on that course, we had a lot of discussions about so what is autism? How does it affect you? But there was a lot of open discussions, and you start to feel like actually you're not alone, and all those things you thought that were odd and wrong with you, you actually start to realise actually other people do those things, and other people sort of feel the same, and the more I can't remember how many weeks it was, but over the weeks, and you sort of those discussions come out, and we talk about like strategies and things like that. It's sort of like you sort of then start to it brings out more conversations than at home and around other people.
But then I go home and create those conversations with my family that I have here. Yeah. I feel like that's just moving forward.
I think it is. I think it does, because you do, it becomes more eye-opening about yourself. And that, because even though you've gone forward for a diagnosis because either yourself or other people have noticed things, but those things seemed a negative. It was very negative based. But I felt like, when we were on the understanding my autism, and even though some of those things did feel a bit negative, and at the same time, it felt positive, because you sort of start to then realise, actually, there's these sort of things that you felt like that were wrong, that actually you're not actually like this weird sort of person, because there's a whole load of people.
Shared experience.
That share the same experience.
And because it helps you understand yourself more, talking to other people who are autistic. Because you think, well, actually, I'm not alone. There are lots of people like me, and they have similar experiences, although they do think, obviously not everything's going to be the same, but there are certainly certain things you think, oh, right, because it is difficult. I know, I don't know, when I first had my diagnosis, I worried that I wasn't autistic enough, because I was thinking, right, so I've got a diagnosis now, am I autistic enough?
Imposter syndrome.
I'm not sure if is it
real? Yes,
and you kind of and then kind of you realise that actually, and you start to look back at things. You think, that's why. Now I understand that. And right, okay, that's part of my autism. Instead of sort of blaming myself and being really hard on myself, so it's helped me understand myself. It's nice to understand other people, and as on that shared experience front, that's why I kind of wanted to do the Oliver McGowan training, which we some of us are members of. Because I wanted to share that experience with other people and get them to understand more about autism, particularly in a healthcare setting.
And how have you found that? Have people been quite responsive?
Very, yeah. So, I mean, there are always going to be some people who think they know better, or they're going to sit in the class and just think, I know all this already, or I don't know why I'm here, or it's just a day out off work. But most people are keen to know more, want to learn, because they're caring people. You're in healthcare settings because you care about other people, and I think that's important, that you understand other people's experience, and that you can use that to the benefit of everybody. Yeah.
So, Luke, your experience of Autism Bedfordshire.
Right. So, I was in my second year at college, and I was looking at sort of what I could do at the end of my course when I'd finished. And all my tutors really wanted me to go to drama school or to uni, but I knew in my heart that was not for me. I'd really struggle with being away from home, having that sort of shock of independence, if you like, would have been too much. So I found Autism Bedfordshire. I can't remember how, actually. Really weird. But I'd been aware of them for some time. And I looked, and they were doing a skills course in September, and I thought, well, it's only 6 weeks. I'll try that out, see how it goes. Loved it. And then I sort of found out about other groups that they did. Like, I went to tennis for a while. We used to do rowing. I did other skills groups like art, budgeting, stuff like that. I made more friends. I felt like I could be myself without having to worry about people either dismissing my needs or not maybe fully understanding them. And that was a big thing for me, because when I was at college, although I was around on the whole, a nice bunch of people, not everyone really understood me as well as I think they thought they did. And this led me to feel very insecure and very anxious. But over time at Autism Bedfordshire, I have learned, to just be myself. And actually, it's like the others were saying, Autism Bedfordshire, you can just be who you are. We don't judge each other. And we understand we're all unique and we're all a bit quirky, and that's fine,
I think that's a sense of community that I think we've found as well. It's been really beneficial. I think helping to support each other as well.
Yeah.
Not just relying on staff members, but building that community within.
Exactly.
And I think for me, starting out as a member, it was about 3.5 years ago now. And not really going out, just being stuck indoors, quite depressed. Didn't really have many friends around here. So yeah, coming to Autism Bedfordshire as a member first off, that really helped my confidence. Helped me to be used to being around people again, and non-judgmental people as well, which I think was really refreshing and made a big difference. So yeah, then into volunteering and now paid work. So I've a lot to be thankful, and I'm very grateful to Autism Beds for helping to support me. It's been, as Jess said, life-changing. It's been really good. So I suppose, following on from that, is there anything else that you could say to people watching this that would help them understand what it is to be autistic for themselves or any other people they may know in their lives? What advice would you give to them to...
If you're just getting diagnosed or believe that you are autistic or on the spectrum or neurodivergent, go out and find a community. Go out and find people like you, because, like I said, it's changed my world, Find people like you.
I suppose internet's a good way to search for places. I can't remember how I come across. I think when I was diagnosed, I was told by National Autistic Society. They said there's an organisation called Autism Bedfordshire.
Yeah, my doctor recommended it, that I got diagnosed with,
I think it was in the leaflet they gave me when I had my diagnosis.
Yeah, I think that was the same with
when
me.
I did the last the actual last interview, they gave me some literature and said, we'll be in touch, but there's some information. I had to wait till I actually had a diagnosis, I think, before I could actually be a member. And yeah, but I think we're very lucky that we have Autism Bedfordshire in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire and Milton Keynes as well. Because it doesn't exist everywhere,
No,
and some people in the country don't have any support once they've got the diagnosis. I think that's a real shame because it's, as you say, it's life changing for a lot of people, and actually being able to understand and meet other people who are autistic is really valuable. It helps with your mental health. It helps with your general positivity, self-positivity, and that's important.
And actually realising that you are allowed friends.
Yeah,
I've always
absolutely.
been bullied.
Yeah,
And no one has been like a true friend in my life until I've come here and met, lifelong friends.
Yeah, I think, like you say, we're quite lucky in Bedfordshire and, the amount of groups we have, because not only do we have Autism Bedfordshire, there's Living It Up as well, Rainbow Bedfordshire, and, that's just free. And I'm sure that, if I was to do research, there's so many more out there that we don't know about in sort of our area, whereas, other areas definitely wouldn't have that amount of support, and a lot of them would be sort of left to sort of carry on, I suppose.
I think what I would say, especially if somebody's just been diagnosed or in that process, I think one thing that helped me is realising that you can stim, because I remember growing up, it was very much like just sit down, stop moving, stop putting that in your mouth. And it was constantly being told all these things. I was constantly like walking around the classroom. It was, it was constantly that, I was basically being sent out the classroom constantly, or I don't know if anybody's school did that thing where you had to stand in the corner.
Yeah, I was put in the
I
corner
was put in the corner
times.
constantly.
outside the classroom.
Outside the classroom.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that thing of realising now that I'm allowed to do the things I was told that I couldn't. And it's been such a release that I can actually move now. I still sometimes get into the habit of sitting, because I was told to sit on my hands and to stop moving. And sometimes when I'm masking quite a lot, so I'm having a meeting with somebody or I'm talking with somebody, I still get into the habit of sitting on my hands because I'm masking. But quite often I'm now realising I don't have to do that, especially if I'm around, if I'm around autistic people. And I've noticed, if I don't know if other people realise this, but if you're in the queer community and you're around queer people, most of them are autistic or neurodivergent. And so if you go to a queer event or anything, and I just, you can just stim anyway. And so I'm realising now I can move and move my body. And it's so much better for you than not. It's so much,
freeing.
Yeah, because it builds up that you end up burning out or shutting down at the end of the day, especially if you are meeting people or going out socially. And I know sometimes you have that feeling of, let's say, if you're on a bus and you feel like you can't stim, but I don't know, I always feel now if I'm listening to music and I'm rocking or moving, people might just think that I'm enjoying my music, then that I'm stimming to regulate myself because I'm on a bus.
Even, go on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Even when I'm at home and I'm reading, I've started rocking, and it just calms me down so much more than when I just sit and read and still feel everything in my head. I'm sitting and rocking, and it's just so calming. And
You don't feel you have to hide it because people will think you're weird. You can just sit there and rock or whatever stim you enjoy. you can just do that. And yeah, that's precious, because often, unless you're alone at home with people that know you, you don't get a chance to do that so much.
As in, you're saying, like, we're talking about, I suppose, conditioning from an early age. It's having to sit on your hands, having to be still. For me, it was I had to be still like a statue. Otherwise, they'd tie me to the chair at primary school. I could tell you a couple of horror stories from there. Not very understanding, unfortunately. So I think there's a lot of shame and a lot of internalised kind of shame about stimming and being myself. And coming and being around other people like me, I can feel that now I have a little pencil that's a bendy pencil, so I sit and fiddle around with that. I used to rock, but because of my back now, that's not really something I can do. I've kind of developed going side to side a bit now, so it's coming out in different ways, and I'm feeling more comfortable in my skin doing it, which I think is a major achievement.
I still do a taught. It feels weird. I do a taught stim, and so when I was, I must have been about 11, 12 at the time. A teacher. It feels weird. A teacher taught me, because I think he was getting so frustrated, and I still do it because it was sort of like a talk, and it's this and this, and he said to me, if you need to do something, just do that. And it's a talk. It feels weird to say, but that's one I do all the time, and because it was just so put in to me, because that's a teacher that I had for a full year and then had for numerous lessons for years. And it was just this thing of, he was just getting so frustrated with me doing loads of stuff that was to him distracting his lesson. But it was just that thing, and now I've done it for years, and it was just constant. And it's a hard habit to break, realising that I can do my own stuff. But I feel like that's one thing I would like to say to people, is just literally move.
Do what feels best for you.
I think the stimming thing. So the stimming thing for me is I'm not always aware I'm doing it. You just doing it automatically. And I remember during the diagnosis, the lady asked me, do you stim? And I was like, no, I don't think so. She said, well, you're doing that. So I was like, so I am. So that was So it's not always something you're aware of. I think also, going back to your advice, it's not always instant that that you will connect with people, but it sometimes takes time, because we're all autistic. I mean, it takes us a while to sort of get to know each other, trust each other. Trust is important, but it gets there. You will get to know people and be friends.
Fantastic, thank you, and thank you everybody. That was really interesting. A lot of good information there, which hopefully will be help to people at home watching this. So thank you.
Thank you.